What is going on, everyone on the internet? Welcome to episode 1 of Unfiltered. We are your hosts, Devin and Casey. I'm Casey, and this is my friend Devin, who doesn't quite have his mic on just yet. And, yeah, this is our very first show. Hard to believe. So, before we start, just a little bit about ourselves. We're really just two free-thinking individuals. We're really opinionated, and we wanted to make this show. You're probably thinking, who the fuck are you guys? What are you guys doing here? Really, we're just two really bored college-age students, nothing better to do with their lives. And hey, I mean, it's the internet. Anyone can make a show these days, so why the fuck not?
'Cause YouTube.
Cause YouTube. Yeah, the whole Adpocalypse thing. Have you heard about the whole new Adpocalypse shit that's going down?
Yeah, a lot of people are getting demonetized for no reason.
Yeah, but it's crazy what's surrounding it this time because from what I hear, it's like quote unquote child exploitation. Have you heard about that kind of shit?
Yeah, there's a lot of those kids-friendly quote-unquote channels floating around.
Yeah, it's like they'll fucking disguise themselves as these like family-friendly YouTube, or how do you say, Google preferred channels, when in reality uh it's just it's so much more sadistic than people realize, because like with those channels, I forgot what the channel that was actually shut down, it was called, I think it was called Toy Freaks or some shit like that. They were fucking, like, this dude was posting videos of his kids crying, kind of like the Daddy 05 thing. I think there was like one instance where like he made one daughter pee on his other daughter or some bullshit like that. And it's just so fucking, it's just weird. It's really sadistic because those are the more popular videos. The videos that, the kids, they're not, they seem to be in distress. They seem to be, they're obviously crying. They're upset. Those are the videos that are the more popular ones. And a lot of the comments in those fucking videos are just ugh, they're weird, dude. So a lot of them are really predatory. It's just, fuck, it's just scary.
Yeah, a lot of those videos, just even if you're an adult, you look at them and you're like, this is weird. And then some of those are targeting kid demographics, and you're just like, that's not okay.
Yeah, it's awful, honestly.
I mean, my 20s and this creeps me out, let alone if I was fucking 6.
Yeah, I know. If I was 6 years old and I was seeing fucking one kid pee on another, I'd be like, ew, that's fucking nasty. What is this? Oh, man. But it's really bad because like YouTube is trying to like get off their asses and do something about it, which they should. But at the same time, it's like they don't give a fuck. They're gonna hit every single person they possibly can. And
well, recently they were talking about I think it's the CEO or that chick that represents YouTube at this point. I've noticed she came out recently and was talking about all this new stuff they're doing, all the backlash from the new kids stuff. And one of them was like, oh, they flag people for impersonating videos and impersonating channels, but then some channels have been actually pulled down for impersonating quote unquote themselves.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's clearly not working.
I've seen that shit. Yeah, that's even worse. I think that's why iDubbbz actually got hit. I remember you told me a little while ago that his channel was like completely empty, and then all of a sudden his videos came back, but there were like no thumbnails.
Yeah, I was watching Sorrow TV talked about it. He was talking about how his channel completely disappeared and then came back. And then when it came back, it had no thumbnails, and all his videos were apparently in 480p.
That's fucking weird.
But now they're all within hours it was back to normal.
Yeah. I've heard that that's actually what happened to a couple of other YouTubers as well. And yeah, it totally makes sense. It was probably YouTube's doing. But dude, whenever their wallet is threatened, they flip the fuck out. They just can't get their shit together sometimes. And it can even be frustrating as a consumer as well, because we're not YouTubers. We don't make money off that platform, so why the fuck should we care? But it affects you as a consumer because you begin to see the censorship, you begin to see the change in people's content, and it kind of becomes upsetting to you because these people, they have to adapt to their surroundings, they have to adapt to the platform, but then that affects your viewership. Makes it not as fun to watch.
Yeah, it's kind of like PewDiePie. He doesn't really follow the rules when it comes to a lot of the new changes, but at the same time, he has the financial backing that he doesn't actually need the platform itself anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he funds himself with his past gains, and so now he doesn't have to follow the rules. But then you see your content creators that are new and coming out, and they're just getting screwed over by the new process.
Right. Yeah, people see the PewDiePies and the Jake Pauls and just all the like really popular YouTubers, and they think, oh shit, everyone makes money off of YouTube. What the fuck do they care? But the reality is, there are many people who do YouTube full time that still live paycheck to paycheck. They're not millionaires. They're, if anything, they practically work minimum wage for for the amount of work that they put in and that they get out of it. It's like less than minimum wage at times.
Yeah, I can't remember, but back when, before all the ad shit, I think I remember channels around, I think 100-something thousand subscribers that averaged 20,000 views made pretty much minimum wage.
Right. Yeah.
So it was like, those aren't big YouTubers, but they could make a living off of it, and then they continued to grow into these big channels.
Exactly.
But then now you get to this point where if you're not big, you have to play by Google's rules and what gets you to the top of their trending page to actually get anyone to see your content and continue to grow.
And not only that, but like sometimes people just say fuck that and say I don't want to play by Google's rules. So what they'll do is they will, in a lot of cases, like those fucking like the Elsa Gate. I don't know if you heard about that, but people will manipulate the fucking algorithm, the tags, and they'll put out some of the most just disturbing shit out there. And it's making money. It's making a shit ton of money because they're finding a way around it. And YouTube is
And
freaking
they're
out
getting
about
their views from shock value.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
A lot of people see this weird stuff, they click on it to see what the hell it is.
Right.
And then that just continues to encourage that channel to then continue to do that.
Exactly. They have a financial incentive to fuck with the algorithms and manipulate them to their own financial gain.
It's like the job on YouTube has become less create good content and more how can I get money from doing this rather than how can my content produce me money.
Exactly. Like, it's not anymore like how can I entertain people? How can I connect to my audience?
The content isn't producing money now. It's more the money is producing content.
Yeah.
Like it's less the creator's decision is dictating what they do and it's more what can I do to make money
Right.
without trying to blow up my fan base.
Yeah, the incentive is no longer to entertain people and to connect with your audience and to be a famous YouTuber. The incentive now is to milk the money that YouTube is making. And it's crazy, because fuck, before YouTube didn't have money in it. 12 years ago when it first came out, it was just a platform where you can just watch shit. Now it's turned into essentially a corporation, which
I might be wrong, but the last I heard, I don't even think YouTube's actually technically profitable, which makes it even more ironic when they do things when their wallet's threatened. I don't think YouTube as a whole actually even they lose money in technically as a company.
Well, where did you hear that they lose money?
Oh, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Like not a long time ago, but probably like last year at the end of it, people were talking about it. Like the company itself is revenue. They don't go positive. They don't make money from their platform.
I see what you mean.
Because they have to uphold the servers for everything, and they're paying they're paying people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. YouTube as a platform doesn't make money, but Google that owns the platform makes money.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Well, it's because the CEO of YouTube probably has Google breathing down her fucking neck to do something. So I can't 100% blame her or YouTube in general.
Well, ever since Google bought YouTube, they just kind of try to integrate themselves into it, like with the whole Google Plus thing back in the day. Like having to have a Google Plus, this little sign in and comment on YouTube pissed everyone off.
Dude.
I mean, at this point, everyone on YouTube has a Google Plus that no one ever uses.
Because you have to.
They're just dead accounts. You had to do it back in the day, so now they're just sitting there dead accounts.
Exactly.
And I think you still have to, actually,
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you still have to.
Remember, when I made my channel a couple of years ago, just to post bullshit on to share with you and our friends, I had to make one, and I was just like, okay, I guess, if I have to. I'm never going to use this feature, but thanks.
Yeah, same, dude. That's the only reason I made a Google Plus is because I had to. Though I think that they did the smart thing and they just sort of integrated Google Plus with your Gmail because or I don't know if that's always been the case or if that was like new, but that makes it so much better because like I have a shit ton of Gmail accounts, you know, so like so when I go to a website it says sign in with Google Plus, you know, it's no big deal. But I think that's what made it a lot better. But initially, it's like they were trying to compete with Facebook, and I don't know what other social medias there were out there. I think Instagram was a thing at the time.
MySpace.
Well, fucking MySpace was dead, but way
Well,
before
MySpace
Google
was
Plus.
dying.
Yeah, well, I guess, but yeah, there was no competing. So, man, I don't know what the fuck that shit was about. Google Plus.
Well, it's one of those examples of a corporation stepping into a light that they're not meant for. Like, no one wants to go
Right.
on google.com to do social media stuff. Like, it's just it's like what you want to do, you have to dedicate your service to that. Otherwise, you're trying to be a jack of all trades and you're going to
Right,
wind up
yeah.
doing nothing.
It's kind of like them making the smartphone, except their Google Pixel is obviously a little more successful than Google Plus. But it's like I could see why they would want to expand for sure, especially into like the social media realm because there's so much monetary incentive in the social media arena. But it didn't work. The way they try to do it, the way they try to force it on everybody, just did not fucking do well for them. But hey, everyone's using it now, and now you gotta have it to use YouTube. So I guess it's it's like if it's not gonna be successful, we will fucking make it successful.
Yeah, it's like Google Plus completely flopped, but it still exists. It's almost like they're too stubborn to be like, nah, we're gonna shut this. It was a mistake. We're gonna shut it down. And it became more of a, well, it's just gonna be here. Just deal with it.
Right.
I mean, we made it easier. Now it's part of your Gmail. I mean, now you don't have to worry about all this other crap. But I mean, it's still gonna be there.
Oh man.
But yeah, if we go back to the whole Adpocalypse thing, they just been hitting everything, like violent related too. Like even Call of Duty gamers are getting hit, and I've even seen a channel, Blue Drake, who has completely switched his channel, pretty much, to not have war content because he could not make money off it. Where he even started his own platform and own website to post his videos on, because he could make more money doing that than even trying to post a war game online.
That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's just
And then now we have companies going after games like Detroit Become Human for no reason other than there is violence in this game.
oh, right. I heard about that shit. I was watching The Know earlier, and they were talking about this article. I think it was like on the Daily Mail or something. We could probably look it up right now, real quick. But it's so fucking ridiculous. There's this outrage about specifically the trailer that they released during Paris Games Week. And like the subject of the trailer, there was this woman. Fuck, I guess I'd have to give you context on the game. So on the game, you actually play. It's a branching narrative, and the way they try to demonstrate the branching narrative in that trailer was this scenario where it's like a domestic abuse scenario, and the dad.
Well, you're an android, so you're not supposed to feel human emotions anyways.
Right.
But then it gets to a point in the trailer where you have a choice to either try to save this child from domestic abuse or do nothing because your programming isn't allowing you to. And what happens is they show in the trailer, they show both choices. One
Right.
choice, you save the child because the father apparently beats her to death, or you step in and you kill the father.
Or also, I think the daughter can also kill the father in one outcome, or you can like escape with the daughter, or if
Well, in a game like this, there's probably a million outcomes for
right.
this scenario.
But the thing is, basically what has everyone up in arms is I think if you ignore all of like the signs that Todd, the dad in the trailer, that he's this abusive monster, there will be a point where Todd gets so angry and he commands you to stay where you are, so you cannot physically move your character, and then Todd goes and beats her to death. And I found the article. So this article right here, a video game depicting child abuse and domestic abuse was condemned as repulsive last night by MPs and campaigners. In one harrowing scene, a girl aged about 10 is heard screaming as her father apparently beats her to death in the bedroom. Now, I can see why that would make people uncomfortable, right? Child abuse, especially to that degree, no one likes to fucking talk about it. It makes people uncomfortable, makes people cringe.
I almost feel like that's the intent of this game, though.
Right.
It's kind of to get under your skin. and make you realize hard decisions.
Exactly. It's supposed to drive you emotionally, and you're supposed to base your decisions off that.
Yeah, it's almost like they want to pretend like this doesn't exist in the real life, but games depict our world where this happens to people in real life, and this game happens to show that, but they act like this is for kids, and
Right.
why should we show this to them? This is too violent, but this is a mature thing
By
for
adults.
for adults. Yeah.
Exactly.
But what I don't ever understand with this is it's like you could have this happen in a movie. People might talk about it, but it's
Exactly.
not going to get the headlines as a game does. Because people see games
And
as these, you're interactive, so instantly those are your emotions you're putting into the game. You like these feelings. Either choice isn't necessarily good or bad. It's just kind of a choice in the game.
Right. And not only that, but I mean, it's up to you to save the child, you know. And the biggest problem that this article has, right here, Childline founder Dame Esther Ranson, I don't fucking know his name, called the game made for PlayStation 4 console sick and repulsive. She urged publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment to either remove the child abuse scene or withdraw the game entirely. So now you're calling on a developer to censor themselves because this scene makes you uncomfortable. That's absolutely fucking absurd. What if it were to happen in a movie? Would it be any different? Fuck yeah, it would. Because movies aren't seen just for kids. Movies are seen as like for everybody. It can be for adults. You know, you might have a more mature movie, or it could be one for kids like Inside Out. You know, the subject isn't as mature. But the thing is, it's the same thing with video games. They have this this self-regulating body called the ESRB that puts ratings on games based on the demographic. So you will have more mature games for more mature people, you know. So if you want to play Detroit Become Human and you're over the age of 17, you're free to do that. But if you're not 17, maybe you shouldn't be playing those games.
Well, it's like those moms that go to GameStop and then complain that their child ran over and killed a hooker and stole her money in Grand Theft Auto 5, but then you weren't supposed to let your child play that game in the first place. Like, someone had to have bought this for you. It had to go through some parental thing, because when you buy a game, it has to go through, just like a movie, it has to go through, are you this age for this demographic of the movie? Yes, okay, you can do it.
If you buy a game at GameStop, like they will, and you buy a mature game, doesn't matter how old you look, you will get ID'd.
Well,
I've
like
been fucking ID'd at GameStop.
Well, it's like cigarettes and alcohol. Like, if no matter how old you look, they're gonna card you. Like, you could be the most obvious old fucking, like, you could be 60 years old. They're still gonna card you for a game because it's what they have to legally obligated to do so.
Yeah. I think the problem is that at large, games are still seen by society as like meant for children, when that's not the case anymore. You know, Battletoads isn't a fucking thing, dude, but Last of Us 2 is. Anyways, the article goes on to say, Dame Esther told the Mail on Sunday, violence against children is not entertainment. I agree. It's not a game. Well, it's not like it's fucking press square to fucking beat your kid, you know?
Well, it's also, they treat these games like, they treat it like you are the person that is doing these things, and that
Exactly.
And they say like, oh, it shouldn't be part of a game, like it's interactive, but this, especially a game like Detroit Become Human, where it's a more scripted experience. This isn't an open world where you get to break into someone's house and beat their kid. It's not a GTA where like you can go around and do whatever. It's like a movie with some interaction and choices, but you never see people going after Telltale Games because they made a Walking Dead game that has them beating the head in on a zombie and then calling it, you're encouraging violence on people to beat each other in the head. But the minute it's also on a AAA platform kind of thing, like Sony's press release of this, like Sony isn't endorsing this,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden people up in arms about it.
It's not like they're saying that, you know, you should go beat your children. That's not the message that they're trying to push. One concern that people have is that kids are going to go out and it's going to encourage violence against children or some shit like that. Like kids are going to go out and beat other kids for some fucking reason. First of all, a kid shouldn't be playing this game. Second of all, what kind of people do you think play video games? Do you think they're just like these mindless, soulless shells of people that can't think for themselves? You know, I played GTA San Andreas when I was fucking like 7 years old. I turned out just fine. I'm not a psychopath. I don't feel the urge to kill anyone, you know? It's absolutely
like
absurd.
Video games, like anything children related, it really needs to be addressed as how the parents deal with these things? Because I remember when I was a kid, like you said, I played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas like when I was little, when it first came out, and like it was no big deal because my mom had already taught me everything.
Right.
Your parents put your morals on you, and when you're a kid, you even more than probably today as an adult, you look at it as just a game. It's not real. It's
Right.
like if someone goes and plays Grand Theft Auto and that makes them want to kill people, that is a mental health problem,
Exactly.
not a consuming video games problem.
Right. It's like violent people, yeah, they play video games, but not every person that plays video game is violent. Fuck. Like if you were so concerned that your kid is going to go out and imitate that sort of thing, don't buy it for them. Cuz I mean chances are they're probably not going to go out and kill somebody, they're probably not going to go out and beat someone else's child. But if you're so concerned that that's going to happen, do not drop $60 on a game you don't want your child to play.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't buy your kids cigarettes just because they begged you for it and they said all the other kids were doing.
Exactly. What? These cigarettes gave my kid cancer? You didn't tell me that. You didn't read the label.
It's like taking your kid to see some horror movie that comes out near Halloween and then being like, they had violence? I wouldn't have known that.
Right.
It's like, especially, it's like, it always comes back to like, because Grand Theft Auto is always in the news for this kind of
man.
stuff every release. But the game also is called Grand Theft Auto. Like, it's like movies, like Friday the 13th and stuff like that. Like, their titles kind of give away what they are at this point. Like, you don't need to, like a lot of parents just plead ignorance, and it's, you didn't look into what you're getting your kid.
Right. You were supposed to take the initiative to monitor your children. And yeah, you shouldn't have them on a leash, you shouldn't monitor everything they do. But if you're concerned about video games, monitor their video games. You're concerned about the movies they're watching, monitor their movies or whatever TV they're watching. There's a point where you should mix in with your kids and you shouldn't mix in with your kids. And video games is one of those points, in my opinion.
And it's like every console I've ever owned up until this point, they all have parental controls. Like, don't let my kid play a game that is rated M. Even if it somehow got onto the system, it will lock you out.
Right, yeah.
I know that for a fact is on PlayStation 4 when I played on there. Like, there's always, it's in the options right under the settings, just parental controls. And I think it even prompts you when you actually first sign up.
I remember that, yeah.
Like on the console, it actually, like when you first sign in and stuff, it prompts you, do you want to turn on parental controls?
Right.
Or are you over the age? Like, you don't need these, you're gonna do whatever you want with your own console.
Exactly. You're a fucking adult that knows right from wrong and knows not to kill people, because killing people's wrong. It's very mean. But anyways, so the article goes on to say, any video game that trivializes or normalizes child abuse, neglect, or domestic violence for entertainment is unacceptable. And I can agree with that. But that's not what Detroit Become Human is doing. They're not minimizing it. They're not trivializing it.
Well, they're acting like this trailer showed what the game in its whole is about, too. Like, this is one scene from one part of the game.
It's one scene out of the many that are going to play out, and it's not like
it's like when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, when people were complaining about the torture scene. Okay, but this whole game isn't this. Like, you're complaining about one scene in a video game.
Well,
and all these people that are complaining, they're in the U.S. Like, you understand, when we get a video game, we don't have it censored because we're in the U.S. and we have freedom to determine consumers what we want. Like, you go to Australia, their games are censored there. There are things that they cannot, like, game companies will have to make a separate version of the game for them to not put things in it.
Exactly. Like, shit, like, from what I hear, it's like you're not even allowed to show people getting killed in video games in Germany. Like, they're all replaced with robots, or they're replaced with like robot parts on the inside instead of like blood and guts coming out. It's like it's springs and fucking motor oil.
Well,
some shit like
they
that.
Also don't like swastikas in
Oh,
the
no
games in
shit.
Germany, which, I mean, I can understand to a point, but it's like at the same time, I mean, that's a personal thing, but I mean, like, I feel like they should, just because, like, I mean, it's your past.
Yeah.
Don't try to just fucking hide it and censor it out of everything.
Yeah, well,
It's like the U.S. isn't exactly proud of slavery, but we teach people about it.
yeah. I mean, we talk about it, we own it, we accept it, and
Well,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
you can't. If I mean, not that I'm saying Germany's going to become Nazis again, but like it's one of those things where, like, you can't. If you made a mistake, you need to see that it was a mistake to not do it again. Not that I'm saying Germany's going to ever become Nazis again,
Yeah.
but
From what I hear, it's like the reason why Germany really, really hates showing the swastika and will do anything they can to censor it is because they're afraid that somehow, like, if anybody in Germany sees the swastika, like some sort of like deep Nazi subconscious that's been lying dormant in people for years is all of a sudden gonna like spring out or some shit like that. That's fucking stupid.
It's ridiculous.
But I mean, it's like it's Germany, you know.
They do
It's
their own
whatever.
thing.
Like, yeah, it's if they really really don't want to be reminded about their past, it's fucking whatever. I don't live there. Not that I like, not that we're passionate about like seeing the swastika and things.
Well, it's
You
more
know,
or less I don't like
it's
seeing things censored.
yeah.
And
I know
then
what you mean.
I don't give a crap if the swastika's in things. Like obviously I still played World War II knowing that in the online there's not swastikas. That wasn't my purchasing power.
Right.
I'm not gonna buy this game if there's not swastikas in it.
Like,
But you know, some people.
there's fucking girls in it. Like it was so funny that people were like so pissed off that there wasn't gonna be like a swastika in online mode. Like, how passionate are you about it?
But not having it online also like there's a reason for that. And
Right.
the reason is very corporation based, and it makes sense if you think of it from a company because they have to market this game one for Germany,
Right.
and if they have two separate versions of the game for multiplayer, then it's going to get really like they cannot market live streams or
Germany only servers. Can you imagine that?
well, not only that, well, I mean even if the texture showed up differently, even if they connected to the other server, the thing is like Call of Duty is an esport powerhouse at this point.
Right.
So if you have American players playing and they're broadcasting this, they wouldn't be able to show that in Germany.
That's true.
So it's more of like a monetary thing where it's like they need to include everything for their esport kind of side of things as the corporation. Otherwise, they're going to lose money.
That's true. I didn't think about that at all. That's actually really interesting. But anyways, going back to the article, 'cause I know we like to go on tangents a lot.
That's why we are
Unfiltered, motherfuckers. Oh shit, that can be the intro. That sounded pretty cool. Let's see. Oh yeah. But the man who wrote and directed the game tried to deflect criticism of the abuse scene by describing it as very strong and moving, which I think it is. I honestly think it is. Because if you play it out right, it's a story about survival. And maybe that sounds cheesy. I don't fucking know, but that's the way that I like to look at it. It's emotionally driving. You know, you feel for these characters. You feel a connection to these characters. Honestly, dude, I may sound like a pussy when I say this, but when I first saw that trailer, I damn near shed a tear because it was just that moving. And so, like, I wanted to do everything in my possible power to save that AI girl, you know? That's the purpose of this game. It's supposed, you play as an emotionless robot android, but you are part of the game, essentially. You, the player, have this human perspective that these androids can't have because they're not human. Hence the fucking name of the game.
And then your controls are what make them become human, which is the whole
Right.
point of, again, the title.
Detroit Become Human. But anyways, so you get the gist at this point. It's fucking stupid. I think it's absolutely fucking stupid that companies are calling for studios to censor themselves because they are uncomfortable or because they feel like I just think that they're misconcepting, or is that how you would say it? I don't know. I feel like
Misconceiving what people want.
exactly. I feel like they're misconceiving not only what people want, but what games are. You know, it's no longer just a fucking thing to do on your free time. It's now become a new medium to tell stories. And that's what this game is doing. It's telling a story. It's telling a really dark and admittedly somewhat uncomfortable story in this scene in particular. But if you don't like it, don't fucking play it. And that's where I'm going to leave off that thought.
Gaming's pretty much gone. It's gone from a hobby to an art form.
Exactly.
In a way.
100%.
And you're going to have those people, just like with art on any basis, that use it for stupid, unnecessary, weird things that like a lot of people aren't going to agree with. But it's like you can't censor everything based on bad people. Because the biggest irony I find in this article is its target demographic of like people who have gone through abuse and things, pretty much. Like, in my past, I've gone through parental abuse and I got away from it. But it's kind of ironic because I'm the target demographic, and this didn't give me like PTSD or anything crazy. Like, if anything, it's getting a story out there that shows that this happens in real life, whether it's in a game or not. You're at least spreading awareness
Right.
in a way that doesn't really hurt people.
Exactly. And the purpose isn't I guess to make people go out and do this, you know? Because that's one of the concerns that this fucking dude has, is that people are gonna go out and imitate this because, you know, children are children, they're very impressionable. They they might go out and hurt somebody, but that's just absurd. That's absolutely absurd because
Well, it's absurd as in, even if you go back and look at kids before electronics were even a thing, kids played cops and robbers, but they didn't actually go out there and shoot each other.
right, they didn't go out and rob somebody. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. But anyways, we're just gonna leave that off there. If anybody's watching at all, like at all, feel free to comment down below. And yeah, let us know what you guys think about that shit.
Like, even if you're just our one viewer that's not us, just
Yeah.
please say something.
You don't have to get so close to the mic, man.
Oh well, I'm Leafy, okay.
Fucking hell. But yeah, I mean, child abuse is bad. Don't do it. Don't recreate it if you see it in a video game. And yeah, Adpocalypse sucks. With all that said and done, guys, that was Unfiltered. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you guys have any suggestions, any feedback, criticism, whatever it may be, feel free to leave it in the comments below, or at least to the one and or two possible people watching this.
If you like what you see, maybe subscribe.
Yeah, if you like to subscribe, that would be awesome. That would be totally sick. We're not really doing this for monetary gain. We doubt that we would get any fucking monetary gain the way that YouTube's going now. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, and catch us next time. See ya.
Peace.
Bitch.